new to this technology. So you youngsters are much faster at picking up this. At my age, it becomes difficult to become smart on picking up these technologies. So I'm a little slow. Please forgive me for this. So as I was telling you, infra developers and owners are, like I told you, large railway contractors who actually build the railways. Technically, it is not the Indian Railway which constructs the railway, but then these contractors who have specialized skills to construct the railway bridges you see, the railway lines which you see, are built by large companies like Tata's or L&T or Afcons. So these are very much part of the railway industry. Then there is a new area of infra developers coming in who lend money for these projects, which are large banks, but they need to have a specialized knowledge of railway system to be able to understand the project, to be able to be a partner in terms of financing these projects. So there are large banks like SBI, IDBI, which fund these large projects to the tune of almost, some of them to the tune of about 15,000-20,000 crores they fund. So they need railway specialists. Similarly, concessionaires. Now, concessionaire might be a new word for you. Concessionaire is a person who runs a railway system on behalf of a government body, which is what you must have heard. For example, since you're all of you, most of you based in Aurangabad, now Pune is going to have two different metros. One is the government metro, which is run by Maha Metro Authority, but then there is also another metro which is being developed by PMRDA, which technically is funded by a group of private companies which are called concessionaires. So they have the authority or the power to build this metro and run it for a designated period of time. They would run it for 15 years, 20 years, 30 years. So there is a similar project in Hyderabad. The Hyderabad metro is on a concession basis. Gurgaon metro is on a concession basis. So concessionaires is another specialized area where you need all railway skills available. The third is the service providers. Now, service providers are consultants who are either project management consultant, supervision consultant, design consultant, proof checking consultants, or operation and maintenance service consultants or services. So this broadly encompasses the rail industry. So now you see, your view was that it is only that red logo of the Indian Railways which is part of the railway industry. No, in fact, today if you look at it in the Indian context, Indian Railway though employs almost, I think 15 lakh people or close to 13 lakh people. But then in terms of actually investments, they actually have much lower investments than all these others. So collectively, the number of employees between these three areas are much larger than what the Indian Railways employ. Similarly, the investment with all these areas is much larger than what the Indian Railway has. So while we were not aware, but this part of the sector, this part of the industry is a much larger, larger component of the industry, which is where you have the possibility of making a career. So it need not necessarily be Indian Railways, but there are other options available to you. Now you might like to know who are the key players under these. So having given you an idea in terms of what are the basic major players in this, now let me show you in terms of names some of the leading players in the industry. I'm sure you'll be surprised because quite a lot of these names which are visible here, you would have seen these logos or these brands somewhere or the other, but not related them to the rail industry. But each of them is a major player, not just in India, but also in the global rail industry. On the first row, if you see, there is Pune Metro, there is Delhi Metro, there is Mumbai Metro, the Dedicated Freight Corridor, Rail Vikas Nigam, NCRTC. Now, each of these literally independent companies or organizations which has nothing to do with Indian Railways, excepting Rail Vikas Nigam Limited, all the others are independent organizations, partly government funded, partly private funded. And they are developing railway projects to the tune of each of them at an average of about 15 to 20,000 crore worth of projects. So that is just one element of it. There could be others, like I told you, L&T Metro, which has just completed a 70-kilometer metro system in Hyderabad with an investment of about 22,000 crores. Rapid Metro, which is the Gurgaon Metro, has almost a 10,000 crore project running in Gurgaon. Then you have contractors like ITD, Tata Projects, GE, of course, again brand name, Alstom. GE normally would not associate with railways, but GE is one of the largest manufacturers of locomotives in the world. And they have a locomotive factory in India producing 100 locomotives every year and supplying it to Indian Railways. Along with that, they also have two major workshops in India, each of them employing about 200 to 300 engineers. Same thing with Alstom. which is a complete railway system company. They supply metro coaches, they supply locomotives, they supply signaling systems, everything. It is one of the largest integrated railway systems provider in the world, which has a global share of almost 30% of the railway business in the world is handled by Alstom. Similarly, Hitachi, normally you would have heard of Hitachi in the electronics field only, so you'll be surprised to see their name here. But Hitachi is the world's leading manufacturer and installing company for signaling systems in the world. They, after acquiring a lot of companies globally, they are one of the biggest who provide signaling systems to the world railways, whether it is high-speed rail, whether it is metro systems, or even the Indian railway system. Similarly, Siemens, where again you would have associated them with electronics, maybe a washing machine here, or maybe some of you in switchboards. But Siemens is again another major player of signaling system. Bombardier, they manufacture aircrafts, yes, but they are one of the largest train manufacturers in the world. They are in fact the third largest train manufacturers in the world, and they've also supplied their trains to Delhi Metro, which are running now in India. BEML, again, though Bharat Earth Movers, but they are the only purely Indian manufacturers of railway trains. Again, they've supplied railway trains to Bangalore Metro, to Delhi Metro. So they are also a big player in the railway industry in the Indian context. The others you've seen, Afcon, contractor, Adani, a developer, Ircon, the Indian Railway Construction Company, RITES, Parcel, these are consultants, Atkins, Sistra, DB, Keolis. So this is just to give you an idea. And like I told you, this is just some of the leading players. And there are many more players. I have absolutely no idea, but there could be at least about, I would say, 200 to 300 players in the railway industry in India alone. And majority of them also operate globally. So now this gives you an idea in terms of what kind of career opportunities if you so decide to choose a career in the rail. It is not necessarily that you have to go through the Indian Railway, but you can also be a railway man or a railway professional or a railway engineer by joining any of these organizations and growing in this organization. Now what do these do? To give you an idea again, what kind of projects are happening, what kind of opportunities exist. I've tried to list out broadly in terms of what kind of global rail projects are happening. So if you look at it, this is a slightly old list in terms of this was January of this year. But if you look at it, there are total number of projects all over the world is given there as almost 664 under construction, which means almost about in terms of track or length, it comes to almost 58 or 60,000 kilometers of construction activity going on, out of which India has almost 6,200 kilometers, which is 10% is a fairly large number of projects in India. Now, that is the one which are going on or under construction. But if you look at what is planned future, that is almost another 6,200 kilometers. So you can imagine just in India alone, this is not Indian Railway. Again, mind you, this is not Indian Railway. Indian Railway might have a parallel of another 1,000 or 2,000 kilometers added to this. But this is non-Indian Railway is where you are having opportunities because construction would require people. And they would require different types of people, different aspects, different expertise, but all of them with railway knowledge. So either they would give them railway training or trained people would be available for them. So this is the kind of opportunities or other activities which are happening. And okay, this is current situation being what it is today because of the COVID. Coming year might slow down a bit, but I think a year later, this is only going to increase rather than come down because people will have to make up for this lost time. So I, as a railway man, and what I've been talking to people around, I feel that yes, this is definitely going to be much, much larger than this. So I'll quickly run through these rail projects. We can actually go through the other things also later. That yes, these are some of the railway projects by description. This is heavy rail, which is what you call as the freight rail projects. Then you have metro projects in this. Then you also have high-speed rail. So this is the breakdown of those projects, which you can go through, or maybe later on you can ask for details as well. But then this is to give you an idea that this many projects are happening. Now, how does that translate into career opportunities for you? This means, just to give you an idea, the graph on the blue color shows that how many engineers are broadly required during construction per kilometer of track. So if you look at it, contractors need roughly around 15 engineers per kilometer, consultants need about 9 to 10 people, and owner, that is developers and all, need almost about 10 people. So that translates to almost 35 people, 35 engineers per kilometer of construction. Now multiply that by 12,000, which I've shown you. So you can imagine the kind of opportunities which exist. And this goes on regularly. It is not a one-time requirement. because the construction activity, one is each project itself is 3 to 5 years long, and then it continues, some other projects coming. So that is as far as the construction is going. The right side yellow graph shows you number of engineers required for operating the system, because you'll have maintenance activities, you'll have civil engineering maintenance, electrical engineering maintenance, mechanical engineering maintenance. So conventional rail, which is what you see kind of Indian Railway type of rail, you have almost about 9 people per kilometer. High-speed rail will require about 10 people per kilometer, and metros will require about 18 people per kilometer. So again, that translates to 18 plus 10, 28, and another 9, almost 38 to 40 people for maintenance and operating, which is lifelong. So these people will have to come in again from engineers, because there would be people who are joining in, leaving, retiring. So there's again a continuous kind of thing. So this gives you an idea as to how large the opportunity exists in this area, in this particular industry, which is not really known. People only talk of software. People say that, yes, this is the one which is visible, but this is something which is a hidden fact where opportunities exist in the world today. And these are all possible for you to go global again, like a software company. You could also make this into a global career. What are the possible roles you could look at? So basically, I've looked at civil, electrical, mechanical engineers or EC engineers. You could be a design engineer, supervision engineer, project manager, production supervisor in a factory, installation and maintenance engineers, QC, construction, quantity surveyors, planning engineers. These are some of the broad categories I've looked at, but there are many, many such roles in any of those areas where they need engineers who to make the projects go, to make the projects operate. They would need engineers for all these things. So how do you get into this industry? Now, you have two choices. One is the conventional Indian Railway route, which is through the UPSC for class 1, and you have a Railway Service Commission exam for class 2 and 3. As engineers, these are the two routes available to you if you want to join the Indian Railways. But then, if you want to join any of the non-Indian Railway opportunities, like I told you, those manufacturers, those contractors, and all that, now they recruit either directly from engineering colleges, which is people like you who are fresh and not really trained in railway engineering. But then a lot of people now are also looking at some kind of training before they recruit. So there are 3 such institutes today available in India where training is given. One is the Railways National Rail and Transportation Institute, which does predominantly for the Indian Railway requirement. Then there is a College of Engineering Pune, which has started recently a certificate program in railway engineering. And then there is an Institute of Metro Rail Technology in Hyderabad, which is what I belong to, which is one of the oldest such training center, about 7 years old, and has produced almost 100 such engineers over these years who are placed with these kind of companies globally. So just to give you an idea of what IMRT is all about, IMRT creates industry-ready rail techno managers. So we take in graduate engineers like you, and over a 1-year period, we create industry-ready, so the industry directly absorbs them once they pass out this PG program. This is broadly what the IMRT is all about. Now, IMRT's strength lies in being the first of its kind in India to offer specialized training and education for engineering graduates in the rail and metro space. Some of the academic associates of ours, where we get in faculty notes and things like that, are listed out here. Now, this is our governing council. If you look at it, these are all leading lights with 30-35 years of experience in the railway and metro industry. So these are all industry professionals and not pure academicians who govern the institute. We have a very strong advisory council, people taken from various metro authorities, from the Government of India organizations, World Bank, and everything, so that we get a mix of advice in terms of what should be our course content and what we should be able to offer to students to make them industry ready. This is the academic team. It's a mix of Indian and international experts from the industry, so that each of them brings in not just theoretical information, but also hands-on practical project experience which they've handled over the past 20-30 years. This is the list which you look at it, some of them international and some of them domestic Indian people. Broadly, the courses which we offer and of interest for you is basically the postgraduate program in metro and rail technology, where the eligibility is a first-class engineering in any of the core engineering subjects. And then we offer specialized courses for working professionals, which is listed here. We also do customized programs for industry people who are already in the industry based on their employers or something. We do customized short-term, long-term programs for them. This is broadly the number of programs we've conducted. We've done with the students we've trained till now is close to about 300 students in various aspects. PGPMRT 100. We've trained engineers for Lucknow Metro. RAMS is a reliability and a safety program we do for industry, where we've produced about 40 RAMS engineers, contract management and others. Then we also do international training. In fact, we are the preferred partner for the government of Nigeria to train the trainers of the engineering colleges where we have helped them in creating a railway engineering course for engineering graduates in Nigeria. So that is what also we help. We train the trainers there. These are some of the industry tie-ups we have here, placements for our students, and these are some of the industries which come to our campuses for delivering lectures or for recruitment, internship opportunities and everything. So this is the kind of background which IMRT offers you. So this is what, if you are interested, yes, you could always get in touch with me or Parimal there at your institute is available.